Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome! So the roadmap has been updated and there is a lot of exciting stuff to go through. Today I would like to check out the changes to 3.13, the new edition of 3.14, as well as address server meshing and iCache. Now these videos are made possible thanks to my very generous patrons and channel members. Thank you guys so much for the support. In particular to my latest patron, Tech Tier 0, thank you for pledging. So firstly, the roadmap updates now are every other Wednesday instead of every Friday. So the next update won't be until the 10th of February. So expect my roadmap videos to be fortnightly as well. For today, I would like to go through 3.14 and the changes to 3.13, as well as a brief overview of the iCache and server meshing updates. And then later on, I'll look to cover all of the other roadmap changes this week and into next week, which will include 3.15, 3.16, and all the new additions to the progress tracker. Now, if you would like to keep up with all of these changes, feel free to hit subscribe and tick that notification bell. So firstly, they have addressed server meshing, mentioning that it is an ongoing initiative that includes a variety of features and tech that help to unlock the ability to expand the content and player counts. The tasks associated with this spans across multiple teams and disciplines, and while we won't see either server meshing nor pyro on the release viewer at the moment, they said don't rule anything out as they are still working out a timeline and have currently not met the more than 70% confidence threshold to place it in a specific quarter. So basically, once they are more than 70% confident as to when they'll implement this, they'll then place it on the release view section for that quarter. So I personally would expect that if it does appear on the roadmap for this year, it'll be towards the latter half, so most likely quarter 4. But of course, there is a good chance it could be next year, depending on how well the implementation of this tech goes. There will be info on iCache coming up in a second. Before we get to the rest of the roadmap, CIG have added labels to each card to represent their confidence in whether a feature is set or still likely to move around. We have tentative, meaning it hasn't gone through the review process and may shift around on the roadmap, so maybe get delayed or even brought forward. You've got committed, which means it's past the final review process and there is a very low chance of it moving, and then released, which basically speaks for itself. As you can imagine, every deliverable currently on the roadmap, be that in 3.13, 3.14, 3.15 and so on, is in the tentative stage, so do expect them to potentially shift around as work continues. But with that out of the way, let's get to the 3.13 changes. So firstly, the convert legacy data management to iCache card has gone, with them stating that there are pending dependencies involved in the works for this, which means the fruits of the efforts won't be seen until later on in the year. They also mention that although iCache is not on the roadmap, it is still there, but it's just gotten a new name. This is because iCache and other similar technologies are now wrapped up within the persistent streaming and server meshing deliverable, which is visible on the roadmap. So basically the work for iCache is an ongoing thing, and the convert legacy data management to iCache card hasn't been stopped. It is still going to probably happen when it was scheduled to happen. It's just not going to be seen by us. It won't affect anything that we do because all they're doing is converting the code, which is why they've removed it. And instead of separating iCache and server meshing work, they've just combined them into persistent streaming, being iCache, and server meshing on the roadmap. Throughout this year, they will be implementing iCache, and we will see many of the benefits, even in Alpha 3.14, thanks to this, but it's just not individualized on the roadmap. So don't worry, they're not pushing it back as such, they're just removing that legacy conversion off the roadmap, as we won't see the benefits for 3.13. Anyway, moving on, a new feature that was added but not mentioned for 3.13 is missions spawn closets. Now this card allows entities such as NPCs to spawn in areas outside of the player's view and will be used to support missions, locations, populations and security responses. Now we have been hearing about this over the past few weeks and it's a great addition, so I'm very happy to see it coming for March or slated for March. This is getting various NPC populations in and out of locations like cities and settlements and so on, which will breathe so much more life into the verse. Now at first I think it'll just be the removal of armistice zones inside space stations and hopefully planet-side cities as well, although that might come a little later, but basically spawning an NPC police force to apprehend or attack criminals. This will also be a necessary step to the bounty hunting mechanic to be able to chase bounties and actually apprehend them through the streets or in space stations using tasers and so on. So a great addition for 3.13. Now, hacking tier 0 has been pushed to 3.14 as the mission team won't have enough time to implement it properly into the game. So the work for it is complete, but nothing is going to use it yet. Object push and pull has been added to 3.13, and this mechanic allows for players to grab some larger objects and move them around the environment by either pushing or pulling them. Not sure what we will be moving in 3.13 though, but it'll be interesting to see how it works. The mounted guns deliverable has moved from the weapons category to the gameplay category as the active feature team is working on it now. So this is still in 3.13, it's just changed categories. They have also added the Tumbril Nova Tonk to the vehicles for release in 3.13, so alongside the Hercules C2 and M2, both ideal ships for transporting this tank, we will get the Nova as well. So I'm very excited to get that in game. A lot of fun will be had from that. So that is all the changes for 3.13 at this moment. Obviously in a couple of weeks we may see some more, but let us take a look at what is planned to release in 3.14 for the end of September. So kicking off with the locations, we have the Planet Crusader and Ryson. Now these are two separate cards, but it looks like they are more than 70% confident that they will be able to implement both the Crusader planet, including its points of interest, and the Ryson landing zone city. Now this is very exciting to see for the second quarter, so around June, and could show that they are expecting to be able to allow more content to be implemented. As of right now, the servers are at capacity, so nothing really can be brought in. So whatever work they are doing on the back end, let's hope it's enough to get these in and maintain a good performance and that it doesn't slip. I will certainly be making Ryson my new home. For gameplay, we have FPS, radar and scanning. This is the inclusion of an improved signature system that supports much greater distances and the dampening of signatures by environmental interference and larger entities. This feature will be available in ships, ground vehicles and on foot. Now this is going to really improve and expand on the system we have now. I also hope it opens up more types of radars and scanners that we can maybe swap out. Maybe not for its initial release, but at the very least, it pushes this system to the next stage. Getting the systems on foot is another great step to getting this cat and mouse gameplay for bounty hunting as well, and maybe flying through gas clouds we will get some interference and distortion on our MFDs. That'll be pretty cool. So next up we have Weapon Charge and Drain Tech Tier 0. Now this says all the back-end tech tasks related to creating the first pass of the Charge and Drain feature that will be used in future locations and mission updates. Now this is referring to items like the multi-tool having finite battery power and the need for either placing it somewhere to recharge or swapping out the battery pack. What I'm not certain about is the tech aspects of many of these cards stating all the back-end tech tasks related to creating a specific feature. Now to me that doesn't sound like the feature itself, more the back-end tasks to make it possible, but I do personally think it's just been badly worded and we will get the tier 0 functionality of that feature, but again I'm not certain. We will need some more clarity on this one. So next up is, in my opinion, the best feature to see in the first half of the year, and that is physical inventories. And when implemented, players will physically store weapons, gadgets, consumables, healing items and more on their person and in vehicles via backpacks, pockets and containers. And this will utilize this new iCache for persistence wherever the players travel. So this shows that even though the iCache work is not specifically itemized on the roadmap, it's still unlocking features as the months pass. Physical inventories are going to redefine how we play the alpha, and I'm ecstatic that it is there for quarter 2. I really hope that this doesn't get pushed back. Now the next feature is radar, scanning and ping. It mentions that radar is used to passively locate and track contacts, displaying their whereabouts to the player. Scanning is used to obtain information about a specific entity, and ping actively finds additional contacts or highlights volumes of space to investigate weak signatures. So although we are already using radars in ships with these functionalities, it sounds as though they are further developing them for more use. This will also allow them to begin introducing more exploration missions for investigating these weak signatures that you've spotted, as well as additional functionality for bounty hunting, I would expect. So I'm really looking forward to seeing these improvements. So another backend tech feature is healing tier 0. Now this states all the backend tasks related to initial implementation of the healing feature that will be used in future locations and mission updates. So again, I'm not sure if there is actually any gameplay here or just the backend work to make it ready for when the implementation is complete. We will see, but I do think this is relating to maybe getting hospitals set up at landing zones, to be used as respawn points. But again, we just need more info on what this back-end stuff means. The same kind of goes for hacking. This has moved from 3.13 to 3.14, so we already know about hacking, so we'll move on from that one. We have NPC healing next. This enables the players to heal other players and NPCs and will allow players to use items with healing properties such as med pens. Now this is going to be a great addition, and the first aspect of the medical profession, being able to help your crewmates or randoms, will be a great addition. Not to mention healing NPCs, so I expect having maybe missions to help NPCs in trouble will come with it or shortly after. Obviously later down the line this will include giving aid to any hired NPC crewmates that you have, so it's a good starting point. So for ships, the Constellation Taurus is finally back on the roadmap, but that is the only ship currently for 3.14, so I am expecting some new additions to be revealed later down the line and added to 3.14 specifically. For core tech, we have migrating legacy vehicle XMLs to data core, and it says updating XML vehicle data to be stored in a new optimized location and format. Now I wonder if this is why they haven't fully tackled the bugs relating to irretrievable ships on the ship request screens, as this may be an improvement for that system, so rather than tackle it fully now, they're going to implement this later on, but don't take my word for that as I'm not certain. So if anyone can shed any light into what this functionality is, I would appreciate it. The next feature is a pretty big one, which is vehicle module swapping. So the ability to swap out vehicle rooms and modules via the Vehicle Manager app, as well as allowing designers to specifically set up vehicles at runtime in Squadron 42. Now this is going to likely only apply to the Retaliator at first, as they did mention a little while ago that this ship is to be the testbed for modularity. But I cannot wait to see it trickle down to other ships like the Caterpillar for example, and it's really good to see this slated for Q2. So finally for 3.14 we have Shield Systems Tech Replacement. This is basically the signed distance field shield implementation, and it says adapting shield code to determine shield hits based off of dynamic contoured shield meshes for more accurate combat gameplay and to eliminate possible weak spots in shield. This also extends shield tech to entities beyond just vehicles. So this is the last item for 3.14 and it's a pretty good one. These new shields, which we have been seeing on the Idris and Javelin for the Xeno threat missions, are to be applied to all of the ships, removing the holes in the shields and improving its functionality and visuals. So there you have it. That is all of the 3.13 and Alpha 3.14 updates. I am so happy to see CIG are hoping to roll out features that this iCache or persistent streaming can allow. The floodgates, as Chris Roberts puts it, are slowly beginning to open this year, and although I don't expect all of these features to make it in, even if half of them come, I will be very excited. As mentioned at the beginning of the video, I will be breaking down all the other aspects of the roadmap in individual videos to help us all digest the changes better. So 3.15, 3.16, the progress tracker with all of the core tech updates, and anything else that I think is worth mentioning too. So if that is something that you would like to see, make sure you subscribe and tick that notification bell to be notified when my videos go live. If you do enjoy my content, do my channel a big favor and hit that thumbs up. I really appreciate that. And today over on twitch.tv/supermacbrothers Ryan, I will be going in depth through the roadmap and checking it all out together. So be sure to follow the link in the description below if you would like to join in for that. Thank you again to my patrons and channel members who make these videos possible. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.